Hi friends, welcome to Algo Lesson. So in this video, we are going to understand how we take input or print output in C++. So let's start with the topic. Now let's say we build one application using C++ programming language and you as a user want to give some input and our program is going to perform some computation and give you some output. Okay, so the task is to how we are going to give input and how we are going to take output from our C++ program. So we are going to understand this process in this video. So basically, in C++ programming, we use one function which is iostream library function to do this input and output operations. So this iostream library is basically part of C++ standard library. So what is a standard library? Let's understand. So basically, the C++ programming language provide us an standard library in which there is many features which is already available in the programming language, and we as a user or as a developer can directly use those features in our program to perform some specific task, and we don't have to worry about their implementations. And one of those features is the iostream library function, which is used for the input and output operations. So basically what we do, we include this header file in our programming language to perform that operations. And this is the basic structure. Like if you see that we have included the iostream library using hash include keyword. Okay, so the iostream library is included to perform the input and output operation, and it is written on top. Why? Because we want to tell our program that we are going to use this function in our programming that we are going to do, and we have to declare this on top because the execution of our program happen from top to bottom. So this way we are telling our program that okay, we are going to use this iostream library function. So we are declaring this in the top of the program. Okay, so I hope you understand like where we have to declare this library functions and what is the use of this iostream library function. Before understanding the process of taking input and getting output from C++ programming language, let's understand what is input and what is output. Okay, so input, when the direction of flow of character is from the device to the main memory, then this process is called input. Okay, so here what is input? Input is basically the flow of characters from your device. The device here is the input devices to the main memory. The memory can be your RAM of your computer. So let's say you are typing something from your keyboard, and the characters that you are typing or the words that you are typing is going to store in your memory, the memory of your computer. So this process is known as input, that we are providing some input using our device keyboard and it is going to store in our memory. So now let's understand what is output. So it is directly opposite of input. When the direction of flow of characters is from the main memory to the device, then this process is called output. So let's understand with example. Now let's say there is some message or some output is generated by our program, and the result of that output is stored in our memory, and from memory that result is visible on our monitor or our computer screen. So this process is known as output because there is some calculation or some steps is done by our program and it generated an output, and that output is visible to us on our monitor or the computer screen. So this process is in which the characters or the message is moving from the main memory to the device. Here the device is our monitor. Okay, so I hope you understand what is input and what is output. So now let's understand the basic standard objects that are present in our iostream libraries. So basically there are four standard objects that are present in our iostream library that we use in our C++ programming language. So let's understand one by one. So these are the four standard objects. The first is stdcin, which stands for standard input. It is used to perform input operations. It is used to take input from users. The next is stdcout. It is for the standard output. It is used to print the output on your console. The third is cerr, which is stand to print standard error messages. The fourth is clog, which is used to print general information in your C++ program. So these are four standard objects that is available in our iostream library. Uh, I'm not going to discuss all four. If you want to understand all four, then you can check the description. There we have provided one note which you can read from our website. In this video, I am going to discuss the first two, and in our entire C++ programming journey, we are going to use the first two standard object only for the input and output operations. So let's start with our first standard object, that is std cout. So basically cout here stand for console out, and here std stand for standard library. So what it is denoting? It is denoting that cout is a function that is available in our standard library, or it is a part of our standard library. So cout is used to print output on our console screen. Okay, so now let's understand how it look like. So this program, this is the way of printing our output on our console screen. We first have included the header file, if you see here, and then inside main we are printing these output. In the first line we have printed a string, or you can say a series of characters, hello algorithm. And if there is more than one character, then you have to put that in the double quotes. Where in the second line you see we are printing one value, which is 4. So if it is a value, we don't have to put it in a double quotes, we can directly print the value. Similarly, here we are printing the decimal value, which you can directly, you don't have to put it in double quotes. But here you can see a single character, and the single character must be in a single quotes. Okay, so this is the way where you can print your output on your console screen and show the user that what output you are getting, what answer you are getting from the program that you have written. Okay, and when you will execute this code, you will see and output like this, hello algo listen, which is the first line of our code. And then you can see the value 4 just next to the character, and then you can see the third value, which is 3.14 after our value 4, and the c, which is here at the end. So, okay, now one thing that might come in your mind, that although we are providing the output in different line, but it is printing in the same line. It is not printing in new line. So basically, when you print your output, your program don't know like when to change the line or when to print the next output in a new line. So this we do using one keyboard with using one keyword and L, that I will discuss in the end of the video. So I hope you understand how we use cout. Now let's try to execute this code and let's see what output we are getting. Okay guys, now we are in our code editor, and I have pasted the cout example that I have taken. So now let's run the code and see what output we are getting in our terminal. So I'm running the code, and you can see the output here is same as what we discussed. It is hello algorithm, then our second letter, which is a number 4, then 3.14, which is a decimal value, and then our last character c. So this all output is printing in the same line. So this is how we print our output, or our result on the console screen using cout standard object. The second standard object of iostream is stdcin. It is used to take input from user, and using an input device like keyboard, as I showed in the example, that it is used to take input from the user. Now, how a program uh, look like when we use C in as an standard object of iostream. So this is the example of taking an input from the user. So let's understand this program. First, we have declared the header file, which is iostream. It is very important for using an input output operation. You have to declare iostream. And inside the main function, if you observe, we have declared int x. What it is a variable. So if you don't know what is variable, don't worry. We are going to discuss variable in detail in our upcoming videos. So basically, it is a container, we can say, in which an integer type value can be stored, and it is of size 4 byte. Okay, so here we can store a value of type integer. Now let's understand how we are taking input from the user. First, we are printing and message using cout function, or using cout standard object that enter the value of x. We are printing this message on screen and asking the user that please provide a value. Now in the second line, which is cin, we have defined this value x. Now what this line is doing, this line is asking the user to enter any integer value. Let's say user has entered 3, so that 3 is going to store in the variable x. And in the third line, what we are doing, we are printing the value that is entered by the user. So first we are printing a message using cout function, that value of x, and this message we have put in the double quotes, and after that we are using this operator to print the value of x. So this is the second line, is the main thing where we are taking input from the user, and this first and the third line, it is the output line in which we are printing the message or the output on the console. So when you will execute this code, you will get an output something like this. The first line, it will be like enter the value of x, where let's say we have entered 81, and in the next line it is printing the value of x as 81. Okay, so I hope you understand how we are taking C in and C out in C++ programming language. Now let's execute this code and let's see what output we are getting. Okay guys, so now again we are inside our code editor. Here I have pasted the C in example that we have taken. So here I have declared one integer type x variable to store an integer value. The first line I'm printing here, there is the enter the value of x. The second, it's we are taking the value of x from the user, and then we are printing the value of x. So now let's execute this code and see what output we are getting. So in the first line it is asking enter the value of x. So now let's say I enter the value 82 and I hit enter, and as soon as I hit enter, it moves to the next line and it execute as cout statement, which is the value of x, and it has taken the value of x that I have given as an input, and it is value x as 82. So this we take input using this cin. The third and the important standard object that I want to discuss is std and l. So std and l, it is basically stand for end line, which is used to tell the console to move the cursor to the next line. So we can print the output in a new separate line. If you have seen in example 1, the entire output is printed on the same line itself. It is not changing the line. So now in such case where we want to print our output, or we want to print the next line in a new line, then we use this object which is end l. So let's understand this with one example. So this is the program in which we have included the iostream on the top, and if you see the first line where we are trying to print an message as an output like welcome to algo listen, and at the end we are adding this standard and L. This line or this piece of code is telling the program that after this message we have to change the line. So the next line is an output which is C out, and we are printing a message that you are learning C++. So what should be the output of this piece of code? That this line is going to print on the first line. This message is going to print on the first line, and this message, you are learning C++, should be print in the next line. So when you will execute this code, you will get an output something like this. The first line will be welcome to algo lesson, and the second line will be you are learning C++. So this end line tell the compiler that after this message we have to move to the next line. Okay, now let's execute this code and see what is the output we are getting. Okay guys, so this is the example of endl standard object. This is basically used to print the answer in new line. So here we have added this endl standard object after this first output message, which is welcome to algo lesson, and which means that the second line, which is you are learning C++, is going to print in a new line. So now let's execute this code and see what output we are getting. Okay, so if you can see that the first line is printed here, welcome to algo lesson in the first line, and the second line, you are learning C++, is printed on the next line. So this is why this and L is used. Now let's see what will happen if we remove this handle from the end of this first output statement. Here we have removed the handle and we print a semicolon. Okay, and now let's execute this code. So now you can see that our message, which is welcome to algo lesson, is printed, and as soon as this message end, the next line is printed, which is you are learning C++ on the same line itself. It's not printing in new line. So this is how you can use endl to print your output in a new line. So that's it in this video. If you really like this video, you can subscribe to our channel and you can share this video with others so others can also learn from this video. For all notes related to this video, I have provided in the description section. So do check this out.